So right now, I am going to hand it over to Byron.
Welcome. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Creative Mornings for building this bridge for creatives like myself to demonstrate our passions throughout the world, allowing me the opportunity to share in this journey. Next, if you will, I'd like to invite you on a visualization exercise with me. If you could please just close your eyes and imagine you're getting ready to have a night at one of your finest restaurants, whether here in Louisiana or wherever you prefer. I want you to visualize first the restaurant, be as detailed as possible, the decor down to the dining table. Back at home, you slip into your finest threads, lightly spray yourself with your favorite perfume or cologne, reach for your door as your driver arrives. As you pull up to the restaurant, your dining partner meets you and escorts you through to the private dining area. Listen for the music. Notice their linen cloth tables, soft lighting perhaps. Pay special attention to the staff as they approach your table and greet you and your guest. Uh, and as they introduce themselves, the general manager, the chef, the maitre d', and the waiter. Imagine their faces and the clothing and what they may look like. And at best, give in your best imagination, just give them a face. Just reserve one space for myself. Okay, now open your eyes. Participating. Now allow me to introduce myself. I am Chef Byron of Two Brothers, One Love, Pop-Ups and Catering Company. Today I'm going to be speaking with you about what it means to be an underdog. And as I talk about it, I'll peel back some of those layers of what it's like to be an underdog, specifically in the food industry. This concept resonates. Google defines an underdog as a competitor, perceived loser, or victim of injustice, thought to have little chance of winning the competition, the fight, or the contest, often underrated, underestimated, and undermined, and also undervalued. This concept resonates within me deeply for many reasons, but most dominantly in the way that I view myself in the subconscious viewpoint of society. Uh, American cuisine specifically is comprised of a melting pot of cultural dishes, and the restaurant industry alone brings in at least 900 billion into this country annually. Uh, it's been said that the blueprint of the American restaurant experience itself, as we enjoy it today, is likened that of the enslaved blacks working in the plantation kitchens. Uh, from the oppressions to the opportunities, the legacies reverberate in hospitality even today. As the food and the hospitality industry took shape post-slavery in America, food contributions from the African American community and the African food diaspora itself were underrated, overlooked, and dishes like gumbo, shrimp and grits, jambalaya, fried fish were once favorites for the wealthy and slave owners and their guests, but they were formally displaced as less palatable. Um, Most Americans would like to believe that we live in a post-racial society, but it's painfully obvious that we obviously don't. African American cuisine does not get the same recognition that of Western Europe, of Mediterranean, or that of Asian cuisines. Black culinary professionals are still largely absent in upscale restaurants, as well as the top levels of the restauranting field itself. In the area of white tablecloths alone, we're virtually invisible. So in my case, I had to strike out and carve my own path. Two Brothers One Love became a catering company, but started as a pop-up series with menus catered to fusing African diaspora with the modern Creole and Caribbean cuisine. David, my business partner, Chef David Hargrove, who's not here with me right now. I hope anyone watching can please send their prayers. He's actually dealing with some family issues right now, so we would appreciate any prayers sent to my business partner, David Hargrove. But David and I we invite our guests to explore and to learn about the bridging elements between African cuisine and what we see inspired today in dishes that you share that are from African diaspora, the African diaspora. The idea was if we can get you to think about or to change your mind in regards to food, something as simple as food, maybe you'll be willing to open your mind to other things as well. Each dinner features a live band. Each dinner that we host features live bands playing throughout the night, wine pairings for every dish. We have hosted in various venues, from elegant restaurants to beautiful gardens, sophisticated art galleries, and also luxury private homes. All spaces were redesigned to fit the artistic and Afrocentric designs of our image. We aim to share an experience in a way that is just as unique in flavor, just as unique as the flavor that we serve. Now, if it's all right with you, I'd like to demonstrate a New Orleans classic dessert, which is of African origin. Hot Calas is New Orleans cuisine. As far as the 1700s, it's often compared to beignets, but hot Calas were the beignet before beignets. Hot Calas began as a savory dish, a savory breakfast dish, involved in remerging. It began as a slavery breakfast dish, but it has evolved and emerged into becoming an elegant dessert. In the early 1800s, Creole women will walk around the streets with baskets full of these kala, walking the streets screaming, Bella Kala tout chard, which means beautiful kala's nice and hot, come get them while they're hot. For a brief period in the 1760s, these enslaved women were actually allowed to sell these kala enough to put toward buying their own freedom, which was great, of course. After World War II, Calas consumption took a huge hit and prepackaged sales started to grow. So in efforts of food professionals like myself and foodies and food experts, hot Calas are now taking back some light and becoming more prevalent in our culture. Traditionally, this dessert is served with powdered sugar in the same sense of a beignet. They're also traditionally just dipped in a cane syrup, traditional cane syrup. Now, today, and the way I've updated this dish, I like to serve it with several different dips just to add variety. Now, to get this going, hot Calas is a very simplistic dish to make. It is literally using day-old rice mixed with a few different spices in one simple leavenet, whether it be yeast itself or baking soda. Baking powder. Today we're using baking powder. I don't know if you can see me here or should I bring it here? But today we're using baking powder as our leavenet. We have some pre-made rice already here. And what you'll notice is I just turned on my heat, literally just to get my oil nice and hot. This is literally a fried rice fritter. Classic, very simple. So to get this started, we have our day-old rice or just pre-cooked rice. I'm going to add in our ingredients. The ingredients are egg, baking powder, flour, and here I have a mixture of sugar and our spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, and some allspice, and a little bit of brown sugar. Here are our dips. I made here actually this is pretty cool. I made a vegan chocolate caramel. We have honey, the traditional powdered sugar, and just some cocoa powder. Just the variations of ways that you can top your Calas. Now, to get this going, add our dry ingredients first. Of course, if you know anything about baking, it's best to add your dry ingredients separate from your wets. And our flour, our baking powder, and our sugar and spice mixture. Get this folded in. Simple dish. It's very quick quick dish to make. Once everything is mixed in, as long as you have pre-cooked rice, it's a fairly quick dish. Mixing everything together, your oil is hot, fry it, and it's done. All right, from here, now I'm going to mix my egg together. All right, favorite Calas. My favorite Calas so far, dipping. My favorite dip for the Calas so far has been this mixture I've made with call it banana nut bread. Yeah. I make like banana nut powder with like vanilla wafers. I just ground them up into like a powder and use that as a garnish to dip the Calas in. It comes out like very good. Eat the Calas with some ice cream. It's a very simplistic, easy way to make this dish completely different from the traditional methods. All right, so from here, everything's mixed in. You can see, have it all mixed in. It's regular rice. It should look just like this. If we were using yeast, this would look completely different because you would mix this and let it sit to proof as you would a bread, and it would proof overnight. So the mixture would look a little bit different, look puffed a bit. But yeah, this method is a lot quicker, a lot simpler. You don't have to do all the fancy methods of letting it sit in proof and yada, 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 mixing your yeast. So from here, we can actually start going into our oil, our hot oil here. And depending on how hot our oil is will let me know. The way to check your oil to verify if it's hot or not is literally take one little grain of rice if you can and drop it in. To know if it is actually hot enough, once you drop your Calas in the oil, it will float, it will drop directly to the bottom. It's hot enough if the Calas immediately floats to the top or starts to bubble around, the oil starts to bubble around the Calas. And if you can't see, but I'll bring it to this camera here, our little Calas just popped to the top. So that lets me know that our oil is definitely hot enough. So from here, take out our little sample. I have here our exit strategy. I like to call this an exit strategy, just something to catch with your frying. Whenever you're frying something, you want to have a safe exit strategy, somewhere to safely take it out of the oil and let the oil drain. All right, so from here, I'm going to take just a little bit of the Calas mixture and drop it right into our oil. Again, you don't want to add too many to overcrowd your pot. So in this little pot that I have here, I'm putting about 3 little ones just so that they have enough breathing, a little elbow room. Nobody wants to be, packed tight in the swimming pool. And this is sort of like, food swimming. Nobody wants to be, too close in the swimming pool. So I've dropped our Calas in. They've immediately lifted to the top as I suggested they do earlier. And now from here, you'll notice the weird, funky little shape that they've taken. The Calas, because of its presence of just being rice mixed with some spices, right, to quenelle it, and it'll come out in a perfect shape and also a different color. You can add squid ink and make it completely black. I've used beet juice and turned it purple. Actually came out a little pink. So there are various cool ways that I've manipulated this dish and updated it for a more modern experience. But this is the traditional method of making traditional spices, the cinnamon, nutmeg, and sugar. Yeah, that is it. So one more time, I will bring this to the camera to show you the next step. So also what you'll notice, just like whenever frying anything, there's a layer of Maillard reaction, that browning there that we're looking for. Once it's completely browned, as you see there, you're going to do just as I did and just flip it right over. However you can in your fryer, just want to flip it over. So now, you always have that one or two that's stubborn. It doesn't want to stay completely flipped. You'll end up playing with it for a while, but this is the process. Just make sure you're turning so that they can get an even coating completely, a completely even coating of cooking around the entire Calas. All right, and once they have a beautiful caramel, a darker brown color, you know that they're done. Your oil should be up to about 350 degrees. In my practice of making this is truly up to your preference of this dish. That will determine how hot your oil should be. So to make that, if your oil is super hot, if your oil is beyond 350 degrees, you will cook this Calas very quickly. It will cook very quickly, and the inside will stay a nice soft mixture of the rice and all of the spices and things. But if you thicker crust, the inside won't be as soft. It will still be hollow. It won't be as soft as a beignet, but you'll have a completely crunchy beignet. So it's truly up to your preference. You know, super hot, you know it's going to come out crispy and soft on the inside. Right at the perfect temperature, a little bit below it, it'll definitely develop a thick, crunchy layer that you can use. So keep that in mind. That is the methods to cook. So that is the color we're looking for. Turn that off. That is hot Calas. Now from here, it is truly up to you how you want to dress them. I have here our powdered sugar. This is the most traditional method. You literally just right over them. You want a good bit, just like a beignet. Traditional method of making this dessert is just dousing them in a whole bunch of powdered sugar. As such. Uh-oh. All right. All right, should I have my plating here? Again, traditional method, you eat this with just dipping sauces, but I've at this point experimented and been serving these with different ice creams, different toppings, of course, as well as fruit, fresh fruit. And it is a great, quick dessert that you can serve all of those with. Be as particular as you like. We have here some honey, our vegan caramel, and some cocoa powder, just to change one of them up. Throw some cocoa powder on. Boom. And we have our dessert, y'all. Hot Calas with cooking, with dishes, with dips. All right. Now that is it. Now that our demonstration is over, I will go into my culinary history. All right, so thank you. Quick demonstration. Actually, you never want to not try your own food. Forgive me 1 second, let me. And yes, delicious. I like the vegan caramel, pretty good. Very hot dessert when they come out of the oven, out of the fryer. Please give it a little more time. I have a professional burnt mouth and it's still hot. Please give it at least 3 minutes to cool off before you try these things. They hold heat kind of like wontons. You ever bit into a fresh wonton and that steam just burns your mouth from like a fresh wonton right out the fryer? Same thing. All right, delicious. So into my back to give you my culinary background. I am a classically French trained chef, but I chose Creole and Caribbean cuisine because they're parts of my identity. I feel a deeper sense and meaning and appreciation when I cook because it's an extension of my family's heritage. I was born and raised in Louisiana, here in Louisiana, and I'm the oldest of 3 boys. My mother is one of 9. My father is one of 13. So a huge family on both sides. Our collective family values were based on respect for others as well as for yourself. We were always taught to treat others the way you would like to be treated in literally every aspect of life. To say yes, ma'am, no, sir, to your elders, to stay out of the kitchen unless you was helping, you know, keep your nose out of people's pot. Like all very simplistic, very simple notes, but very effective in creating and grooming another generation of successful and productive members of society between myself and my cousins. Yesterday was my birthday, y'all. Yeah. Thank you. I made 31. It was amazing. How do we celebrate our how do we celebrate our birthdays here? We eat, of course. Yesterday, particularly, I took my mother out to eat, which is actually a tradition of mine. I like to, just to throw this on the side, I like to treat my mother to things on my birthday, because on my birthday, she's the one that was actually working. So that's a little note just want to throw out there. Just tell your mothers happy birthday on your own birthday. But yes, gathering for meals was tradition, and everyone in my family was taught how to cook. Now, because I'm some trained chef, everybody in my family expects me, or requests for me to cook during these family events. Or whenever I show up, I end up in the kitchen, or they end up sending me to the kitchen like it's my duty to be in there because I'm trained or whatever. It's if they were not asking me, that could mean that I don't think I was doing a good job. But since they are, you know, I can't necessarily complain. So with all things considered, I appreciate their requests, but it doesn't mean that I actually do it. I did not have many plans for myself outside of high school. So to avoid taking a stereotypical route commonly populated by young African-American males with no clear direction after high school, I joined the military. My experiences in the military taught me the importance of teamwork, as well as the value of time. Like, you'd be surprised how much you can get done in a minute. I joined as an engineman, which is your modern day mechanic. Except I worked on a 684-foot long marine transport vehicle. My ship, the USS Green Bay, shout out to the Green Bay, was built right here in New Orleans, actually. I was, when I joined, I did my boot camp in Chicago, stationed in San Diego, but was immediately stationed here to finish to complete the building of this ship, the Green Bay. In December 2008, after 6 months of living in hotels. Well, everybody else was living in hotels. I'm from here, so I was in my house. From 6 months of living in hotels on board, and we set a sail for our home port in San Diego through the Panama Canal, which was a great trip. I'll tell you, nothing says underdog like having to share two shower stalls with 30 other people every day. Still not quite sure what I wanted to do. I took this experience to expose myself to various career opportunities just to truly pique my interest. Toward the end of my military career, I found interest in special forces, and I started on a path to becoming a Navy SEAL. Now, great opportunity. I was prepared for my training, as prepared as I was. As soon as I realized that I was capable and this was a great thing, it was fun. I was highly recommended, but I noticed it truly wasn't a passion of mine. It wasn't something I was truly passionate about. Wasn't something I could see myself doing for the rest of my life. You know, it was fun now, but it wasn't what I needed it to be for my life. So I decided to get out and pursue more passions of mine that I could use as tools to help change the world in a more positive fashion. That translated to me going down a path of self-discovery. And that foundation brought me to my love for art. Since the military, I found various ways to keep my artistic nature along with me in my career. For example, in my first few years out of the military, I worked as a barber. I was trying to apply for school to be in architecture to build restaurants. As a barber, I often cut hair for free at churches, cut hair for the homeless, often cut hair for kids that were going back to school for free. Worked with various nonprofits, hosting various hair shows around the city, donating to the same premises of just making sure that anyone I can get to that needed a haircut, got one. That couldn't afford a haircut, got one. I saw my client's scalp as a canvas, and my clippers were the brush, you know, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. From barbering, I got into cooking. Plating and the art of playing with your palate is my sweet spot in cooking. I even designed a mobile heated table. Say that right. Mobile heated table. So that I can paint a complete picture using food on a table instead of the confinements of just a plate. These may not appear as experiences of an underdog, but that is the difference between knowing and experiencing them, specifically racism. In 2013, I was racially profiled, wrongfully arrested, and not convicted, but I was charged with stealing a cell phone, facing 7 to 12 years in prison for something I had literally nothing to do with. And even with video footage, overwhelming witnesses, employee records placing me at work, because this woman picked me in the lineup, I was charged. That was enough to have me charged. Nothing else was worth considering, almost in the sense of saying that I was guilty before proven innocent. Luckily, I've been able to reframe these experiences to my advantage. And that motivated me to invest into myself and stay true to my core values. 2 years later, this was 2013, 2 years later, 2015, I was awarded the then John Besh Chef's Move Scholarship, which is now the Mino Scholarship made in New Orleans. Shout out to Ms. Lauren Darnell for all the great work you're doing. Keep on. I hope she's here. But yes, this Chef's Move Scholarship, from there is where my journey kind of led to where I am today. Every day I remind myself of how fortunate I am, but I do not want to be the exception. I know that it's going to take a lot of efforts and a lot of underdogs like myself to make a significant change in maintaining the mindsets that drive me in continuing to push from the bottom. At this point in my career, I have had some of the most amazing opportunities cooking with some of the best chefs literally on this planet. I've trained in New York. My scholarship sent me to New York. I trained at the International Culinary Center, which is the second best school in the country. Cooked at some of the most prime events spaces, like the James Beard House, like the Bon Appetit Kitchen, just to name a few. 2017, I was a contestant in the Food Network's Chopped show, which I actually went against a good local friend of mine, Chef Serena. Shout out to Chef Serena. I've also hosted several art shows around the city, raised money for organizations fighting against gun crime, gun violence. When I returned home from New York, I began working as a consultant with the legendary chef Chase, Leah Chase. She saw something special in me, and for 3 years, she poured everything she could into me up until her death. Chef Chase is a mentor of mine, as well as Chef Bobo, who I was working for in New York. They were both huge influences in most of the steps that I've taken this far, specifically in my career. Their belief in me helped re-emphasize the importance of what it is to give back, and they were definitely part of the catalyst to my work giving back and working with the different various nonprofits that I do in the city, working with kids, teaching kids, and just general wisdom from two very well-respected and well-seasoned chefs. Nowadays, I'm hired out as a private chef to celebrities. I host private parties all over the city, all over the country, really. My chef partner, Chef David, and we are having great success in growing our catering company. But these did not come without struggle, of course. I've been overlooked and ignored by many times in this industry. My message is far more progressive. My message for the business, my message for the far more progressive businesses, a good work ethic is no match for the income disparity and advancement in opportunities. That's my message to the progressive businesses that are outside of this conversation. Blacks are still rarely promoted promoted to management or leadership positions, which is why creating my own opportunities are instrumental in my livelihood. Unconscious bias permeates so many aspects of society, and especially evident in how we endeavor to kind of cap people's potential based on our perception of their abilities via underdog. Or just like how we like to deem certain cuisines worthy as a premium price tag, the underdog again. There's what I've come to know about numbers is that they can kind of be miscalculated, you know? What being an underdog is to me is sort of like a miscalculation in a sense, you know? Underdogs will always be underestimated, undervalued, maybe even overlooked, but much like hot Calas, you can reemerge. You can emerge from the oblivion. You can go beyond the stereotypes. You can live to be the example that you want to set. That is the life I try to live myself. I even like to think of life as the process of painting a picture, so to speak. Your base layers, you know, there are many layers in painting a portrait, on some portraits. Your base layers are the fundamentals to that finished project. But along the way, you know, the layers can change in various ways so much that can either improve or damage the overall image. Meaning, in between these beautiful layers of my life I've just painted for you, there are personal mistakes and circumstances of my environment, of course, things that led to this mindset that I have of an unconscious underdog in the eyesight of society. But all of that fuels my desire to never conform to images that are expected of me, rather just to create ones that are authentic to myself, of course. So at some point in our lives, we're all either the perpetuator or a victim of a bias, but never allow that title to define what you can accomplish. I'm trying to be a living testament to that. Now that you've gotten to know me, I would like to know, do you see me differently? Thank you. I think that is all I have to say. This is what it's like to be an underdog. Now we turn it over to the Q&A. Thank you for your time.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, Byron. That's amazing. So I know a lot of people were putting up some questions in the chat, and so we are going to have a quick Q&A for Byron, and see what he has to say, and then we can. You're still on.
You can still see me. I'm like dancing.
Yeah. And then we'll. Then everybody can go on with their day. So, yeah, let's see what questions we have in the chat. Let's take a few.
Hey,
I'm so sorry. Does anyone want to try these things?
Okay, yeah. What's that, Jenna?
Jim, we have a couple questions that came through. One of them is, does it taste like a beignet?
Okay.
Yes. In the sense of some of the flavor comparisons and the doughiness, somewhat of the texture, not really, because it's crunchier and it's denser, but still hollow. So yes and no. It's remnants of a beignet, but completely different. Sort of like gumbo and jambalaya. You know, they're pretty much the same ingredients, but two completely different dishes. My favorite ingredient to work with. I like adding fruit to literally anything I cook with. I can say that. Fruits. I love adding fruit. And savory, of course, desserts, breakfast. Fruit is just good in anything. Yeah, so anytime I can add a fruit to whatever dish, it's always beneficial for me. Still focusing here. Shout out to our merch.
Take a look at Byron's shirt, Chef Byron's shirt. You can probably buy one, I guess, on his website. I'm not entirely sure, but making it look good, man. Let's see. Are there any dishes someone has requested that you prepare that you don't like?
That I don't like?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I am classically French trained, but I really don't like a lot of the French dishes that I'm trained to make. one specific one is onion soup, French onion soup. I had a request, and I make a pretty good French onion soup, but I hate French onion soup. And yeah, I've been requested to make it a few times, and I was like, I make it because it's good, but I don't like it. Yeah.
Where do you eat out most often?
Most often?
Let me piggyback on that. Where did you take your mom?
Restaurant August. I'm a little biased. I've worked for some of the restaurants I would call my favorite, like Dookie Chase, Restaurant August. Shout out to Chef Ross. Where I eat most often, though, on a common basis, because I cannot eat at Restaurant August often, is Cafe Abyssinia and the other Cafe Adis, the Ethiopian restaurants here in the city. Cafe Portia is a breakfast spot here. Morrow's, I'm at Morrow's pretty often for lunch. Yeah, I'm pretty much all over the city, actually. I like going to a lot of the little spots, like not necessarily the gas stations, but the little corner stores that sell food here, I would call them. Not like everything but gas stations. They have some of like the best breakfasts and local sandwiches, and what else did I get from those places? Oh, like the halal shops that we have here. Amazing. Yeah, I eat a lot of random cultural foods. Yeah, I love banh
So a clarification: Can I buy one of those T-shirts on your website?
Yes. We sell this T-shirt on my website. We sell our aprons. This is a basic one, but we actually on our website, if you go on our website, you'll see we have patches of different African fabric, like that fabric that you'll see at our dinners, etched into our shirts. So our everyday shirts are a lot more stylish than this one here. This is just the basic plain Jane that I'm wearing here, modeling for you today. But on our website, we do have a lot more artistic shirts that have patches of fabric that make them very, very Afrocentric, and they fit our styles. So yes, please visit our website and find our merch. Trying to model this as best as I can for y'all here.
So we're gonna take two more questions real quick. One, how did you pick your mentors, or did they pick you?
That's actually funny. How did I pick my mentors? I guess Chef Bobo was my mentor before Chef Chase, my main mentor. I've had several mentors throughout my life, throughout my career. A lot of them were not chosen. I think none of them were chosen, actually. They were all, and I was inherited to them all. I think Besh was one of my first. Chef John Besh was one of my first mentors. Because I remember walking past his restaurant August one day when I moved home and decided to become a chef. And I was like, man, this is a nice restaurant. I can only imagine actually being able to work here one day. And then I think it was maybe a year or 2 years, maybe 2 years later, I was actually working there. And I ended up meeting Chef Besh, and we became pretty good friends along the path that I've taken after I won his scholarship. And then from there, Chef Besh introduced me to Chef Chase. When I moved home from culinary school, Chef Besh asked me what cuisines did I want to focus on. And of course, I said Caribbean and Creole. And his first suggestion was Chef Chase, her being the queen of Creole cuisine. So immediately after that meeting, he introduced me to Chef Chase, and that was history from there. But in New York, Chef Bobo was actually even more interesting as well. I was in culinary school, and my culinary what are those people called? My counselor, that's her. My counselor actually suggested to me that Chef Bobo was a good place for me to go work based on what I was doing in New York at the time. I was hosting, not only going to culinary school, but I was hosting art shows. I was involved in some of the communities in New York. And yeah, I had a lot going on in New York as well. So based on that information, my counselor advised me to work for Chef Bobo. One, because it was not only a lot more lucrative opportunity for myself as a student, it would give me the freedom, and also my interests fell into his program. So yeah, to answer your question, I was blessed with my my mentors. Yeah.
And then one last one, when you are feeling creatively stifled, do you get motivated or refill the creative well?
When I am,
when you are feeling creatively stifled, how do you get motivated or refill the creative well?
how do I get creative? I like to clear my palate, you know, because I have so much going on at any given time. If I can clear my brain, it's a good way to restart that creative activity. And the easiest way to do that is my daily routine and working out. I'm an active skateboarder. I'm an investor into one of the skate parks in the city, and I'm there damn near every day. The skate park is called The Parasite. Visit The Parasite, come skate with us. But clearing my mind is the best way for me to regain that creative spark, you know? To go work out. It helps.